Okay, today we're going to study budgets in relation to having a supplier diversity program. Program should have a budget. So, develop budget and financial support for organizational diversity initiatives. Purpose of a budget. Budget's a financial plan that covers a specified period, usually a year. They're tools for allocating funds to accomplish the objectives of the organization. And a budget indicates planned future actions and the funding levels required for their completion. They are information transmittal devices that bridge the planning and execution stages of management. To be effective, budgets must contain some means by which management can determine whether planned operations are being accomplished. Development of standard costs. So standard costs are used in estimating material and labor. These costs can then be allocated across departments if necessary. And two elements are common to all budgets: a set of specific goals that relate to the future operations, a periodic comparison of actual results to established goals. So you need to know if you're making progress on your goals, which is why you have the budget in the first place. Functions of a budget: help anticipate and control expenditures through the allocation of financial resources. By using flexible budget techniques, supply management can control expenses relative to the level of business activity. If expenses vary a great deal from month to month, work with finance to accommodate some type of flexible budget. And if some organizations, a budget is a pre-authorization to spend up to the budgeted amount without additional approvals. Not in all organizations. A budget for a supplier diversity program is likely to be this type of budget, and most organizations would run it that way. Monitoring of expenditures. So expenditures can be compared against the planned expenditures shown in the budget to know if you're under budget or over budget. Innovative funding sources. In many cases, the supplier diversity program's value is articulated incorrectly. Therefore, budgets tend to be reduced, prohibiting supplier diversity program managers from executing the goals set up for the year. Creativity and innovation may come into play in finding other ways to fund those initiatives or programs, such as organizational foundation grants, surcharges, and funding from other departments. Program alignment. So sponsorship dollars are allocated based on business needs or priorities. For instance, it would make sense to allocate some sponsorship dollars for an event in a city where the company has a sizable presence. It will provide an opportunity to expose the brand as well as allow procurement to represent the supplier diversity program. Ratio of supplier diversity: full-time employees, are FTEs, common parlance, compared to total number of employees, total procurement, total operational cost, total revenue, total number of FTEs engaged in diversity and inclusion. So this would be the supplier diversity versus the other FTEs in diversity and inclusion. According to the 2019 State of Supplier Diversity Report, 60% of respondent companies employ no more than one full-time employee in the supplier diversity program. FTE staffing at supplier diversity departments by company size from 2019. So overall, about a third have one person, and the other quarter have 5 to 10. So you're looking at about 60% have between 1 and 10. Well, actually more than that. This is the over 11, so only 4% have over 11. About 50% have 1 to 2. So 20K plus employees, so 20,000 employees, 49% have just one resource. And 5, that's over 20,000, right? So this is the big companies. And about 70% have 1 to 2 people, FTEs. And then 5 to 20,000 employees, 5,000 to 20,000, about a third. You're still at about 50% for 1 to 2 employees. And a 1 to 5,000, 50% only have 1. And less than 1,000 employees. Looks like 1 to 2 is pretty common. Or, yeah, less than 1. Okay, less than 1. Some additional findings from 2019's America's Top Corporations for Women's Business Enterprises by the WBENC regarding the Supplier Diversity Program resources of the 75 corporations that received recognition. So, median full-time supplier diversity staff, 3. Exact middle. Most of these companies have 3. They're probably the larger companies. Median years program has been in existence, 25. And top corporations are members of an average of 2+ regional partner organizations. Median times per year organization participates in external diverse trade fairs, about a dozen, so once a month. And median times per year, the organization hosts international trade fairs, about 1.5 times a year. Not sure what this WinBIP diversity data, the summit, the national conference. I guess this is just where ideas are coming from. Oh, this goes to here. So 1 is the C-suite, 2 is the supplier diversity professional, 3 are buyers attended. So these are numbers that attended this summit and national conference for what would be a BENC. Steps in budgeting: review goal alignment, define needed resources, estimate dollar value of the resources, present the budget, and then once that happens, you do variance analysis between budgeted amounts and actual spend. Define the needed resources, estimate the dollar resources, present the budget, and variance analysis. So steps in budgeting: review goal alignment, view and approve objectives for the diverse supplier program as part of the organization's overall objectives. Review and approve company goal and objective alignment. So budget will represent in financial terms how goals are to be met. And then step 2 is define the needed resources. What is needed to meet those goals that you came up with in step 1? Start with forecasts for review, profit, etc. These forecasts will serve as a basis for estimates of revenues. No, start with forecasts of revenues and profits. Budget requests are being developed at the implementation department level. And major categories for supplier management include personnel, equipment, furnishings, and training. Estimate the dollar value of the resources in step 3. So start by closely analyzing the previous year's actual expenditures. And the standard material cost can be estimated from historical data. Then step 4, present the budget and obtain the appropriation. After any changes are approved, appropriations are made to cover the approved expenses. And then the last step is variance analysis, matching appropriations and expenditures. So define the process for comparing goals to actual results. The budget is the most widely used tool in companies to provide financial control. So the variance analysis is measuring actual spend against what you plan to spend in the budget. A budget established to support a supplier diversity program must account for internal as well as external expenses and is very broad. So key costs to consider: internal expenses over here, printing, office, training, capital, salary, valuation, occupancy. And then external expenses, rewards and recognition, media development, travel, reference, operating supplies, promotional items, advertising, memberships. You have to look at all these things for your budget. All right. To be effective, a budget must contain a means for management to determine whether the organization is accomplishing the planned operations. To be meaningful, what also must a budget be able to measure? An increase in revenue for the supply management department, and probably not. A reduction in overhead costs for the supply management department, no. An increase in the diverse supplier base count, possibly. And whether the budget supports the organizational strategic plan, well, that's got to be it, because that's always the answer for ISM. Support the strategic plan. D is correct. Support the strategic plan. One more here. A supply management professional is planning a special diversity initiative, and a separate budget will be prepared for it. What would be the most appropriate type of budget to use in this circumstance? So a special diversity initiative, so something out of the ordinary. It's not for the diversity group. Cash flow budget, no. Program budget, I don't think so. A line item budget, that could be, or a zero-based budget. Certainly going to start from zero on a special diversity initiative, but I think line item budget is probably more what they're looking for. B, a program budget. No, okay. Because we use a program budget for projects and special initiatives that are time limited and task limited. C is incorrect because we typically use line item budgets for normal ongoing operating expenses for the department. And D is incorrect because zero-based budgets are operated budgets for which there is no predetermined allocation, which should be this, but they like program budget better. Okay. Summary. Budget is a financial plan that covers a specific period, usually 1 year. They are tools for allocating funds to accomplish the objectives of the organization. In many cases, the supplier diversity program's value is articulated incorrectly. Therefore, budgets tend to be reduced, prohibiting supplier diversity program managers from executing the goals they set up for the year. So make sure you articulate your program's value correctly. All right, so now we need to do some questions. And we are on I2. So these questions here. And we've got 11. We got a bunch of questions here. Ton of questions. So you want to do at least 10. But if you're really up for it, you can do all 27. The answers would be located in the answer file. And the ones you want, I2 answers to practice questions. All right, so next we move to the J group.